Welcome to another Cabbage Cage, another versus battles, revamped, revived, special edition tonight. All Bruce Willis. What we're gonna do is take 12 what we see are some of his best characters, such as Crazy Hudson Hawk, Harry Stamper from Armageddon, Butch from Pulp Fiction, and some other surprises, of course.
Like the baby from Look Who's Talking.
That is a little more like it.
Is not making the cut this time, unfortunately. And we're going to put them in random scenarios as we pick both the names and the scenarios out of the hat. So they could be in a Top Gun dogfight, a surf contest, have to destroy an asteroid, and other surprises are awaiting them. But, as you heard earlier, we have a special guest today. We have Smitty.
Smitty. What's happening?
So we're going to do this battle. Let's get to it. Let's pick the names out of the hat. Alright, that is the official shuffling of the hats and names. Blindly picking the first name to battle. Our first competitor is Korben Dallas from Fifth Element. Alright, versus John McLean from Die Hard. These are two.
This is like a battle right up front.
Alright, so this is in the bracket. So we're doing a little tree. Korben Dallas, John McLean in a bar fight. Alright. This is a good debate. Let's get to this.
This is kind of like the quintessential like Bruce Willis setup too. Like his character seems like he would be a bear.
This might be his two most. Is this his two most popular characters?
It's up there.
It's up there, right? Well,
it's up there.
John McLean
for sure, number one.
Yeah. I picked up Korben Dallas' name first, so I'm thinking one, he's kind of in a bar fight in a lot of his sequences in his movie. So what we see of his experience is he's literally fighting alien thugs in a lot of scenarios. I mean, he's more in the casino. In this bar fight, we specified that there'd be no guns. So there's no guns used from either character.
Sure.
Which makes this interesting because I think that would give Korben Dallas an edge because he'd have the tech as well as adapts to weapons better. I think John McClane is not the best shot either. But Korben Dallas also has guns that helps him aim, so maybe that's arguable too. But we don't have to worry about that. No guns. Hand to hand is really what we're thinking here, or even picking up a beer bottle,
or just
I
like
think
who's
the dirtier fighter.
It's definitely going to be the dirtier fighter, and I mean in this case it kind of goes either one of them. I mean I feel like
both pretty dirty.
I feel like Korben Dallas he's when it comes to straight hand to hand combat, he's more trained. Like,
he is military trained background, officially.
Right. So you kind of figure like if they got into like close quarters, like you kind of feel like Dallas will mess him up. But Bruce Willis or at least John McClane, his strength is
he can step on broken glass
and taking a beating, right?
He can take a beating.
And so you kind of feel like it's almost a rope-a-dope scenario where he just gets his ass tossed around the bar, and then at the very end, he's just, he's in a pool of like blood and alcohol, and you find Korben is like standing in a pool of alcohol, and John just takes out a lighter and like throws it at him, and that's the end of the fight. Like,
So you're leaning to John McClane.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, in some weird way, I feel like bar fight favors him. Like he'll
the durability factor. I mean, if this was Bloodsport, which is on here as one of the environments, I think Korben Dallas would take it.
I'd agree.
But since it's a bar fight, it's dirtier, and it's grittier, and it's about durability as well as, I think, straight up more dirty. I think, let's go John McClane. All right, time for round 2, or the second bracket at least. Let's get the names out.
Round 2.
Shake them up. There we go. There's that shaking sound. Name 1. Joe Hallenbeck from The Last Boy Scout.
Joe Hallenbeck's a private detective.
Nice.
And name number 2, David Dunn from Unbreakable. Oh, this is some contrast. All right, I like that. And we're going for what special situation environment? They have to escape Alcatraz. Oh, this is really bad for David Dunn. I'm thinking straight up, because to escape Alcatraz, you have to swim eventually. And Dunn's number one weakness
is water.
Straight up water. I don't know if I can argue
any other way.
Any other way.
So I guess
he's adorable for all the weirder parts.
Well, I guess the question is, does Hallenbeck from the Last Boy Scout, does he have what it takes to get to the point where he can swim across the bay? Like, can he even get to that point? Because if he can't, then Alcatraz wins.
I think. Well, yeah, but in the game of distance and who gets further back, even if they don't both, if neither one can survive it, I think Joe Hallenbeck from the Last Boy Scout.
His ceiling ultimately is he can't get off the island.
I think he can get off. Yeah, I mean David Dunn can't get off the island. Yeah,
well, he can't swim off the island.
But what else? He doesn't have superpowers to get off the island in another way. We're saying escape Alcatraz non-boat wise.
Okay, so like he's not gonna sneak in.
If they can all do both, they all can escape.
Okay.
We're not taking the ferry.
So this is like The Rock
in reverse.
Welcome to The Rock.
Sean Connery. They're just getting off the island and they're swimming, with no snorkel gear.
Yeah, which can be done, as we know.
Okay, but David Dunn can't swim.
David Dunn can't swim, and he's supremely weak to water. I mean, this isn't he's not known to be the best swimmer in any scenario.
So does Hallenbeck even have a chance of getting to that point?
I think he can at least swim. We haven't seen him swim in a movie, but he's athletic, and he's a normal human being.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
think David Dunn is done. It's sad to say,
he came up against his weakness.
This is why the wild card of the environment can change everything.
That's crazy, yeah. Because if you had asked me in a straight up fight which one of those two wins, it's David Dunn. Yeah,
he's got superhuman strength.
Yeah.
All right, Smitty, shake that hat.
Shake, 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 Sonora.
First name out of this hat again, Frank from Red.
Okay.
Simple name. Oh, one popped out. I'm just going to grab that. Mr. Goodkat from Lucky Number 11.
Ah.
This is interesting.
That is interesting.
All right.
Those are actually almost, again, the perfect people to match up against each other.
Yeah. Both similar kind of assassin-ish type.
Skill set-y.
They do have a little bit separate here and there skill set. All right, here we go.
Where are we fighting?
Woo! You ready to hear this?
No. Okay, I am now.
All right, here we go. Jungle with the Predator. So this is the question that we talked about in this specific scene, because if they can't take out the Predator, that would be the ultimate scenario. If they can beat the Predator, that means they ultimately can win. But if neither one can beat the Predator, it's who can survive the longest.
Okay.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Frank from Red is kind of Fast and Furious-ish, but they're in the jungle, so he's not going to have a car to jump out of. We're going to say they're going to both have some kind of arsenal on them.
Okay.
I mean, if we're talking about the Predator jungle, there's some semi-automatic rifles when you can raid the village for some weapons, a knife.
Okay.
So they both have access to those kind of like military arms and knives and gear. So I'd say Frank is more adept to those kind of weapons, but I would also say Mr. Goodkat is a more clever person. And when it comes to fighting a Predator, being clever is very important. And also not being a threat right away gives you more time.
This is tough.
This is not the ideal scenario for either character.
No, I feel like Frank has one edge.
Okay.
Being that he's CIA guy,
mm-hmm.
he's most likely traveled all around the world and seen a lot of different environments. So I feel like he would have an advantage, maybe in the jungle.
Okay.
When I look at Mr. Goodkat, wily as he is, it's an urban jungle. It's a Predator 2 scenario.
Yeah.
Which in that scenario, I'd say probably completely even footing, even with weaponry, because he's an assassin, so he's got to be familiar with weapons.
Yeah.
But
mainly seen with pistols, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think there's a point where he might have used a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Or he sent it out at least.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess maybe you're right. With Frank, he would have had more experience with like bazookas and missile launchers. But
I mean, he pretty much uses every ridiculous weapon you can use. Yeah. All right.
I gotta lean on Frank just because I think CIA experience gives you the ability to survive in the jungle, whereas the Hitman, I don't know enough about him. I don't know, if I knew his backstory, put him in Belize or something, then maybe. But
I'm with you. I like Lucky Number 11 as a better movie, but when it comes to both characters, I think Frank is definitely gonna win.
Yeah, I agree. I like Lucky Seven as a movie, and even the character. I think he's a cooler character, but I think in the scenario,
all right,
you know. Talked enough about the Predator involved, though. We just talked about the jungle.
I think we kind of realize how devastating that is.
How just the jungle in and of itself.
Yeah.
The Predator just like waits for like malaria to kill him.
Smitty, shake them hats. I like that mic very big stuff that I hear. First, all right. This is going to be our other friend favorite, Hudson Hawk. And the next name, Harry Stamper from Armageddon. This is good. This is really good. I like this because these are more of the comical side, action comedy.
I feel like this one's gonna get personal between me and Nick too, because like
if Nick was here, he'd love to argue it.
I already know Nick was like, it won't matter. He's choosing Hudson Hawk.
You think he would? Well, that's why these environment situations changes everything.
Changes everything.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
Oh man. Speaking of Armageddon, this one deals a little bit with an Armageddon.
What do we got?
We got the zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
So we got Hudson Hawk versus Harry Stamper from Armageddon fame in a zombie apocalypse scenario. This is weird because neither one of these guys, once again, are really
equipped for this.
Yeah. Like, Hudson Hawk is a clever...
He's a thief? Yeah. He's a he's a cat burglar escape artist.
In the zombie apocalypse, it's more about survival. That being able going from room to room, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, may be one of the best advantages you can have. And being sneaky. I suppose that Harry Stamper is more of like your American muscle grit guy, and he'd probably try to go like one-on-one with zombies, which I think would be your ego blown out in the wrong way.
Okay. I have something for Harry though.
Yeah.
It's not as conventional.
What's that?
But what does the man do for a living?
He drills.
He digs holes.
Okay.
You see where I'm going with this?
All right, so he can dig a moat to protect himself.
Well, he digs holes and he builds rigs. There's a measure of which, don't you think that he
does
could
have a special rig, so he's inventive.
Yeah, so that like, I mean, the guy lives out at sea, like zombies in the ocean, like, you know.
Well, we've seen that in Dawn of the Dead. Once you get near some kind of land base, it does get to you.
Yeah, but I mean, I sort of feel like
you're saying he's strapped on the rig and he's just gonna be staying on the rig the whole time.
I think that's one option. I mean, where would you go? I mean, if
he has to go to, well, that's true. If he gets to the rig, But as we've seen in the zombie movies, they eventually get to you.
Well, we never seen a zombie on an oil rig, have we?
Yeah, but we've seen them on boats.
Yeah, but how close were those boats to the land? You know, like we kind of know zombies can go underwater and they can breathe and stuff. But like how, like really, like are they gonna cross an entire ocean just to get to like one oil derrick? Like, so that's one thing.
But he needs to get resources eventually.
Well, the other theory was that, you know, if you're trying to survive a zombie apocalypse, like it's not all necessarily about fighting your way out, but it is about building new society and starting and preserving and like building like you said, like a moat or like a underground shelter or something. So I feel like he has the mechanical know-how and sort of the leadership abilities required for the zombie apocalypse, whereas I feel like Hudson Hawk, you know, he's
an escape artist.
He's an escape artist. He would do well.
Actually, this battle's surprising me more the more we talk about it.
Yeah, like we're finding the
nuances of the characters to save them in the scenario.
Yeah. Like I feel like Hudson Hawk would probably survive and like the initial, like when the outbreak starts and shit starts going crazy, he'd be able to like
he got out of the mall, or he could stay in the mall and probably survive.
Yeah, he'd find a way to get out of Dodge. Whereas I feel like Harry would be prepared for it in the first place.
I don't know if he. Okay, this might
not entirely, but you know what I mean.
Improves, but he's not the guy to like be aware of the danger necessarily. In multiple scenarios in that movie that it showed him, and now we're getting like he deals with it as it happens better than he does like I'm prepared for it guy.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying he's not mechanical. He is mechanical.
No, he absolutely is, and he. But that's like another thing to keep in mind is he's dealing with stuff on the fly.
Yeah. They both are.
I guess I feel like they could both survive, but if you had
Who survives longer?
who survives longer? Like, I feel like Hudson, his whole thing is running.
Yes.
He's gonna run and run and run and run and run and run.
And the rules, number one rule of Zombieland is cardio, isn't it?
I thought it was double tap.
I think that's number 2.
Is that number 2?
I don't know.
No, I mean, keeping up the cardio's, it's good, but I guess I feel like at some point, Harry provides a better ability to not only just to survive long term, but to also rebuild.
I'll go with you on that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see either character winning in that scenario. I think if we were more specific about the zombie apocalypse, like next time we might have to say zombie apocalypse starting at the mall, I think Hudson Hawk survives.
Yeah.
But if it's just overall, they're going into the day-to-day and the zombie apocalypse starts to happen, I'll give it to you. I think Harry Stamper survives because he can make it to the rig, probably.
He's probably on the rig in the first place.
Yeah.
So, like, when the zombie apocalypse breaks out, like, he's hearing about it, and, like, ain't nobody even gonna get there, right? So
yeah, but you gotta...
At some point, you
have to get a zombie Ben Affleck coming after you. That's just dangerous in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Zombie Batfleck.
I was just going to make a Zaffleck joke, but that's terrible.
Zaffleck?
Yeah.
Zach Affleck?
Yeah, Zaff Attack.
I think that's going to be my new stage name, is Zach Affleck.
Zach Affleck, I like it. Shake them hats. There it is. First name out of this hat. Hartigan from Sin City. I got my mitts. Wait, no, actually that's Mickey Rourke's character. Name 2. Butch from Pulp Fiction.
That's
Butch Coolidge. If there's a boxing ring match, we already know who's... Well, yeah, we know who wins.
If it says S&M bonding.
Look what it says.
No shit.
I called it. I shouldn't have preempted myself. In a boxing ring, a la Rocky.
Do we really need to go through it, or?
I guess, you know what the argument for Hartigan is? He can't punch a man's face to smithereens, literally.
They both can. But one's a boxer.
One's a boxer, and it's a boxing match. I think this is a quick battle. Let's just say, let's move this along. Butch Coolidge, he's a boxer. I mean... Hartigan's a good puncher, obviously, but it's coming from a brute style. I mean, that'd be like...
He's not in a condition... He's like an old flatfoot.
Yeah.
By definition, he can't dance in the ring. So, no.
It'd be like some guy who works at a gym and who could fight really well on the streets, but in a boxing ring, he'd just be out. Worked. Here we go. We got John Smith from Last Man Standing. In that movie, I feel like he was the only man to have automatic guns, right?
No, he just fires so fast.
Versus another man who loves guns, the Jackal, the assassin of assassins, who killed Jack Black.
Shot his arm off.
Yeah, alright. Here they go. Oh man, see, this would have been a different scenario for the other guys, but in this one, this makes
blood sport.
Blood sport. These guys,
this takes away both of their strengths.
Which is guns.
But that's kind of what we want to happen here.
Yeah, we do. We want some interesting battles. I'm trying to think in both movies. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen both movies, clearly. I don't remember seeing either one of the guys fight really hand-to-hand aggressively.
No.
I remember a little bit in Last Man Standing, but like it's mainly to kind of push people away to shoot them. And the Jackal's so ahead of the game that like he just comes in with, he mainly shoots at a distance.
Agreed. Jackal's whole thing is like, let me stay 1.5 miles away from everything. He's not. He doesn't. Not that he's not tough or anything, but he just doesn't appear to be a fighter, from what I remember. And
no.
I mean, what I do remember about the Jackal is I fell asleep in the movie. So
oh no.
And that the guy that he was fighting was Richard Gere, and that Richard Gere won. So he can't have been.
Oh, good point.
He can't have been all that tough. No offense, Richard Gere, but.
I mean, he's gone through some stuff up the butt. That takes that takes some durability.
Yeah, I know the story. It's in your butt.
But Last Man Standing for me is he's a more face-to-face type. I mean, yeah, he's got guns and stuff, but he's fighting like 12 guys in the middle of them shooting directly at him. So I gotta feel like he's gonna, in a fist fight,
To the death, or you have to say you give up.
something like that.
You have to say Bate.
Yeah, in a blood sports scenario, I just feel like he's more equipped for that.
I'm in complete agreement. All right,
so we actually are now down to the 6. So I don't know how we want to make this get down to the final.
Well, we have no more names, right?
Yeah, we have no more names.
Okay.
So we can...
Well, we're going to have to shuffle up the names again. So the way this is going to work, since we did 12 instead of your traditional, 16 bracket, where it break evenly, we're going to have to let some people have a bye. So some people are going to scoop around to the next rounds, and whoever doesn't get picked just gets to scoot on by.
Okay, so...
So who is unlucky, first off, is John Smith, is right back in the ring.
Man, he didn't get no break.
You get no break, no rest time after that blood sport.
Right.
And John McLean from Die Hard. 2 Johns. The Battle of the Johns.
Well, I can tell you that John's going to win.
Maybe it's Smitty, maybe it's not. And it's... Yes! Yes! This is the best way to the Battle of Johns, no 80s trope is better than the traditional surf contest.
I'm surprised we didn't come up with skiing contests.
Skiing, surf contest. It could have been a BMX thing too, but you get the idea. Some ridiculous 80s trope surf contest tournament thing. Oh man, this is so good. You know what? For me, I think this is a McLean victory only in the way that he's more versed on his feet, balance-wise. He's more timeline alone. He understands what a surfboard is. This would have been really funny if this was the last Boy Scout, because then we could have said surfs up. But unfortunately we don't. But still, this Die Hard, John McLean, I'm going to argue, said he knows what a surfboard is, so he knows where to start, at least, to win a contest. John Smith, unfortunately Smitty, doesn't even know what a surfboard is in his timeline yet.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. I feel like not only does his knowledge of the sport and the tools involved give him an edge, but just the fact that he's walked on broken glass and
Is there a song?
Annie Lennox, yeah.
Yeah, can you start singing it a little
Walking on broken glass. Okay.
Walking on
Broken
glass.
Do 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 do. That was terrible. Nice, so they can, they get that sense of humor.
They're in our wavelength.
But there's the walking on broken glass. There's the standing on the side of an airplane. There's the surfing through the tunnel when the water was going. So I just feel like he's got these varied experiences that, aside from just the knowledge, give him the edge.
Yeah, John McLean wins.
Yes.
Here we go. That hat is shaken, and we got Frank from Red. He is back.
Old Man Frank.
Old Man Frank
Old Man Frank.
versus Butch Coolidge from Pulp Fiction. All right.
Butch and Frank. That's kind of perfect names to be going.
All American. Here we
Yeah.
go. American.
Yeah.
America.
If this was a hot dog eating contest, I don't know who would win.
Oh, well, Frank.
But Butch might butcher it.
Well. All right, good try. And here we go. You're gonna love this because from one of your favorite films,
Ooh.
we have the Thunderdome making its cameo.
By the way, Thunderdome is not one of my favorite films, although I love the Mad Max series. But
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but
This is tough because hand to hand, they both have. I'd say Butch has the upper hand, being a pro boxer over even a military arsenal of judo and stuff like that. I think there'd be some interesting factors. Maybe Frank could tackle him, but I don't know. The weapons, right? I mean, they have rusty spikes and weapons around them.
I'm going age on this one. Butch is younger. He's a little like Frank's a retired.
But he's so dangerous in his movies.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
He's retired. He's a guy who like jumps out of a car no problem. I don't know. I love Pulp Fiction, but once again, I think Frank Red is a little bit more superhuman to survive.
Is there a samurai sword in the Thunderdome?
Yeah. Oh, there's sharp like weapons.
I don't know. That's a hard one. That is a hard one.
And he is inept to using a chainsaw. I'm sure there's a chainsaw around there somewhere. He doesn't use it. He thinks about using it.
Yeah, my original argument of age is just I feel like even though Frank is a badass, like all he's got to do is like take one wrong step and he blows out his knee and then it's done.
Oh, man. No respect.
I don't know. This is going on longer than I wanted to.
You know what? I'm actually gonna go Frank. I'm gonna switch gears with you. I'm gonna go Frank because I feel like he knows how to fight dirty.
That's true.
Butch does too.
He does fight dirty. I mean, he only fights dirty in the way that he pretends that he's going to drop in the fight.
Right. Butch could probably fight dirty, but like Frank has probably made a living out of fighting dirty, and that's
and he officially does.
We got our final four.
All right, we got our final four here. The hat is shooken. The names are picked up. I got two in my hand. We know where we're coming down here to. We got Frank from Red again.
Okay.
Harry Stamper from Armageddon.
Ooh, old cats. I like it. Okay, now what is our location?
What is the battle to be fought? Ooh, we got a lot of things in here. Ooh, this is not looking good.
Asteroid.
No, Vietnam War.
Ooh.
A lot of action trope movies, not the Vietnam War. I mean...
Yeah, it's automatic Frank.
I think it's a quick battle. Let's just say Frank. I mean, Harry's got a lot of things, but he's no soldier.
He's not a soldier. Not in that situation.
All
so
right. Frank is making it further than I
Frank
thought.
is going way further than we thought. Well, our last two
names are some badasses. We got John McLean from Die Hard.
Yeah.
No surprise. And then Joe Hallenbeck.
This ain't no game, Flash.
Yeah, or he's actually John McLean, like somewhere between Die Hard 2 and 3, under a different name, like he's living under witness protection. So, I mean, the worst thing that could possibly happen between those two guys would be that they ended up in a WWE cage match. Like
This is what we got here, a WWE cage match. I just showed it to Smitty. This is an interesting factor for a lot of reasons. I think in the goofiest way, because
Joe would
win because it's so much more comical, right? Like it's a showmanship thing. Because you're the one who wanted to make this a WWE cage match as a possibility,
right?
Like no holds barred,
right?
And so showmanship is a thing.
And like, don't get me wrong, like John McClane has a huge element of that, but
this might be the one time where I think Joe could win. I mean,
it's the one scenario
in in John's defense, I should say. In John's defense, when it literally comes to climbing out of a scenario, I think he's the better climber.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's break down the cage match first, because like WWE,
you explain the rules better than I can.
WWE cage match is a standard. You know, you throw two guys in a cage, and the first one to either get pinned or to get out, because they still do have the pin roll, or to get out of the cage wins the match.
Okay.
But throughout the cage match, you've got them trying to beat each other to a point where the other guy's so beat up that he's not going to stop the guy from getting out of the cage.
And then kind of the goofy factor is what? The audience factor, the more they cheer, the more they kind of like get up faster.
Right, exactly. So you kind of feel like whoever the fan favorite is in wrestling, it's almost always going to win unless there's some scenarios in which the villain wins, but usually it's you've got a hero that's going to win. Neither one of these guys is really the villain.
So in some ways, automatically, I mean, Die Hard is obviously going to be the fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part that makes like sense that you would think Bruce Willis's John McClane would come out on top because he sort of always does. But I think the showmanship factor for Hallenbeck,
I think that's a factor.
Like I sort of feel like that rises him up a notch.
On the side note, who has the better entrance? I think Joe.
Yeah. I think he's the better showman, which doesn't necessarily win the fight, but in the realm of the WWE, it goes a long way. So,
okay, look, what would be? I mean, it's wrestling.
Yeah.
What would be their finishing moves? I mean, we're basing this off their movies. I think Joe surfs up Joe, would pull out a chair, and hit you with the chair and say "Surf's up," or he said "Have a seat." That would be like his finisher, right?
Or in the sense of the cage, he'd definitely bang your head against the cage until your head was all bleeding and stuff. And McLean's definitely a bleeder, so he'd do the 1, 2, 3, 4, and
and actually, for John McClane's defense, I actually think he's got like the Ric Flair in him. Not that he's Ric Flair in the showmanship, but he's got like I play cat and mouse. Like he's like, oh no, I'm wounded over here, and then he gets you,
and then he strikes like
a cobra.
Yeah.
But I think he pulls the Ric Flair, like the eye poke. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like this is definitely a match that goes the distance. Like you feel like
once again they're very equal and physical.
Well, yeah, and you feel like each guy is going to get his shot at getting to the top of the cage, and then the other guy will wake up and pull him down, and you get the feeling at some point Joe Hallenbeck's butt's getting exposed to the crowd. Like that's just like it's in every wrestling match and a cage match. There just seems like there's the guy. Well, maybe I'm going back to the '80s, but the guy climbs up the cage and he grabs Brutus Beefcake's. Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Nice. He goes and he grabs the guy's shorts, and as he's trying to pull him down, the shorts come down first, and then the guy comes down. But
fair enough.
There's some derriere up there.
You know what? I'm gonna default to you for this one because you're more well versed in the cage match, especially WWE style. I mean, if this is UFC, I could fill in that. But
who's the bigger fan favorite?
I mean, if we're talking about movies, it'd obviously be Die Hard. But if we're talking about characters, like
in a wrestling in the WWE,
if they walked in, I think Joe would be a showman, like you said. I think he would get the fans on his side almost instantaneously, as John would be like the everyman.
I mean, Hallenbeck has the kind of a charisma edge, but as far as being a fan favorite, because it's not like McLean, like as much of an a-hole as he's the a-hole that every guy wants to be.
True.
Right.
Well, that's the Stone Cold factor I'm bringing in, right?
Right.
You're like the toughest SOB, as he puts it, right?
Yeah. Like he's salty, but like he's salty in the way guys are salty, like, so yeah, he is the everyman. So man, that is a really tough match.
I don't know when a cage match rolls.
I'm gonna shock the world. I'm gonna go Hallenbeck.
All right,
let's do it. We're gonna have some fun.
Joe Hallenbeck wins. Wow, major upsets today. We already know. We don't need to put it in the names.
I know.
So we're left to the final two. A surprising final two. I did not expect this myself. Frank from Red, Joe Hallenbeck from The Last Boy Scout. Basically, your semi-discount John McClane, but somehow in the right match was a way to overturn things. What is the scenario with the final scenario? We got a couple different random 80s to 90s action tropes here. What is this one? Oh my god, it's the best. Can you guess which one when I say the best in the scenario that this could be?
Strip club fight?
Close. I mean, this is no Roadhouse, but this is The Running Man.
Oh, I was hoping we would get this at some point
because this is the best.
As a finale, though.
Yeah, as a finale, this is the best finale you have. So, for those who are not well informed to all these 80s and movies tropes, please watch some of these movies that we're mentioning. But in The Running Man, it's basically Tron, The Hunger Games, Battle Royale, all smashed into one, but it's all a TV game show. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, against his will, was put against these other criminals to survive, all these other gladiators, like American Gladiator style, but they have all the weapon advantage, and you basically have to run and use your environment to take them down as best you can, or escape to the end and survive, which the winner, spoiler alert, no, I won't spoil it. You could be in an ice ring with a guy who has like a hockey blade, literally like a hockey stick with blades all over it, with spikes on the ends of it.
Yeah, and then there was Dynamo, who had all the...
Flamethrower?
No, he was the guy that used sound, and then there was the flamethrower guy, and then there was Jesse Ventura.
Oh man, who's just your all-American?
Yeah, just try and beat it down. Yeah. But yeah, the whole premise of the movie, which was based on a book by Stephen King, was in the not too far off future dystopian world. It's a game show where ex-cons have to fight to survive. And they're given so much time and so many opportunities, and basically there are hunters that are trying to kill them for like a cash prize.
So we have Joe Hallenbeck and Frank from Red.
You don't even know where to start.
Well, because they're both adaptive. There's an arena awareness and showmanship, once again, to Joe from The Last Boy Scout.
But the showmanship factor only really matters if you can...
The audience is a big factor in the games because they help choose the games and who you fight. And if they like you, you know what I mean? They kind of start favoring you in certain ways.
And that's true. That's true. And there's in the movie, there's the one old lady who does change, and she's like, "My vote's on Ben Richardson," and you know,
I like him. Yeah. I choose Ben. And then Frank, he's not going to win anybody's favors generally. I mean, he's a survivor.
He's not likable in that way.
He's not likable in that way. But he is Fast and Furious-ish tough in his Red.
He's a tough SOB.
But both guys are out of their element. This is like a dystopian future, so they're not going to have an advantage of particular skill set. The weapons are more hand to hand. They're good.
Well, yeah. Well, and in terms of the competition, they're both going to be without. Like, they won't necessarily have weapons. Like, they might accrue them, but they're going to have to like kill someone to get them. So,
which I think Frank would do faster.
Sure.
So you get his hands on a weapon faster. So that is a factor.
Well, and I also feel like he's...
But it doesn't mean that Joe can't survive long enough to get a weapon or outrunning man him and escape.
Yeah. But I also feel like Frank's more like environmentally aware. So like he'll utilize that more to his advantage as well, which is a big factor in the Running Man. So like
the thing is, if we had John McLean in this, I think he does better
in the Running Man.
Yeah.
Than
just because once again we talk about his durability.
Yeah. Too bad he lost the WWE match.
Yeah, good job on that decision. Pissing off half the fan base if they even made it past this.
Yeah. Well, you know, at a certain point, you got to embrace the silliness factor.
I guess so.
And, you know, come on, we're debating, you know, Bruce Willis is, you know, best of, you know. If anyone didn't automatically just go to John McClane because that's kind of automatic, then, you know, what's the point of going through this exercise?
For me...
Frank's going to win, isn't he?
I think he's going to win. I think it's just that he's just so weapon-versed. And they're both survivors, but I think he's a better survivor. I mean, his age has proved it. Not that means everything.
Well, and you feel like he's more tactical.
Yeah.
Like Joe Hallenbeck's more like fly by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
Whereas you sort of feel like Frank's gonna like take an evaluation of the situation and come up with something that's gonna help it work to his advantage.
Wow. Of all things, Frank wins.
Man, I didn't see that one coming.
Do you guys see that coming?
Even a little bit.
I wonder if anybody else who's listening saw that coming. I did not see that coming at all. Yeah, that's Smitty writing the card against the mic. Wow. Well, thanks for listening. I'm surprised you did. I'm surprised by the win. Congrats to Frank. Let's do this again. We got plenty of action heroes and action stars to do this with. I think this is a good way to do another versus battles.
Bro.
Special editions.
I'm down.
All right. Well, Cabbage Cage saying, "May the peace be with you."
Hot dog eating contest.
that would be a funny trope too. Or you know what? Before I forget, we should do the Revenge of the Nerds Olympian. Like the Olympian, like
Daichi,
yes. Like
Daichi.
the drinking Olympics. Remember?
Yes.
Like, that would be it. That's an '80s action trope that I love.
Oh, I thought you meant we would actually do that. That's the competition.
That's
yes,
what I'm
yes,
Let's
yes.
actually do that.
Oh yeah, that's.
I think you actually kick my butt pretty well.
Oh,
I mean, I have a good alcohol tolerance, but I think you have a better beer tolerance than I.
I think it depends on what we're trying to do. Like which part of the contest? Like if we're doing the tricycle stuff, like you'll probably kick my ass because like once I start getting a little bit buzzed trying to on a tricycle, I'm gonna fall off quick.
But you beat me in the belching contest probably.
I would probably win the belching contest. Yeah.
What else is there? The tug of war, right?
The tug of war.
This is a great side note, by the way.
This is a great side note. I like that we're doing this, like especially personal battle royale.
This is our own personal battle royale.
Tug of war. I gotta think I'm gonna win that one just because I'm heavier and I just gotta lean. And if it's just you versus
I'm pretty
me,
good on the tug of war, but I'll give you the advantage on the weight. All right.
Okay, and then what's the last thing?
There's something. There's the talent show.
Well, before we get to the talent show, there's the non-profit stuff.
What's the non-profit shit?
That's the like the pie eating. Then they have the pie.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I got you there.
Kisses for $1.
I think I got you there.
So you think you get more kisses for $1?
More kisses and pies for $1. I think I could do that.
Yeah. So okay. So
we're evened up.
We're evened up. So then it's the talent show.
What are you gonna do for your talent though?
Oh man. I could dress up like a bunch of chicks and you know, it was funny because I actually had that song in my head when I was driving up here. I was like, no, well that one too. That one's always in my head. But the other one was Mr. Football with USA. Yeah, and then.
But let's in realistic terms because that's what we're trying to base this off. You think so?
I think you got more computer experience. I think.
So what I do like the computer show?
I
could do that's true. I could do an animation.
I think you'd like me. I could come out there and at best do like the Booger Presley part with the guitar, you know. But
no, I get you. All right, fair enough. All right, good battle.
Good battle.
Han wins. Side note. All right, I might use it at the end. That might be funny.